Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about alerting. So there are two topics we're going to discuss in this video, alerting and events. So firstly, let's talk about alerting over here. So to look at the alerting, we have already seen the overview of it, but not too much into it. So there may be some exam questions coming in about alerting. So that's why I want to make sure that we overdo this one more time on the alerting. Okay, so now we are in the observe alerting page. Now there are three options over here, the alerts, silence, and alerting rules over here. Now alerting rules are basically a set of rules which you set and you kind of wanted to trigger based on the rule. For example, alert manager cluster down. So this is actually set to warning if it finds any kind of a server going down, the cluster going down, and basically the expression is set over here where it's where you kind of click on the expression and then it basically goes to the query. So now currently there is no particular issue with with this particular alert configuration. So it basically counts by namespace service and looks out for any kind of alert manager on user workload, which is lesser than zero point 0.5, and then basically sets out an alert. So basically, the alert manager connects with the metrics to gather the metrics about a specific item and then basically triggers an alert. Now, alert rules are configured and you can configure, it's already pre-configured. So as you can see over here, these are some of the alert rules. And for every kind of activity which you have on OpenShift, you will have alert rules for that. Okay, so including the storage, all those items which you have as a Kubernetes OpenShift service, you have alerting for that. Now, when you sort out by alerting rules, you kind of have the severity of the alerts. So the severity start from none to info, warning, and critical. So this could be one of the exam questions. They may be ask you about what are the they may ask you to choose multiple severity of alerting, where in which they will ask you a group of questions and they will ask you to select the correct answer. Now they may ask the alert state, but it's very less, it's not very often. They would ask about the firing state, sorry, the alert state. So it's like firing, pending, silenced, and not firing. So very less likely they would ask you for the explanation for these, but definitely they would ask you for the severity. And then in terms of silence, you can create a silence when you know that there is some service which is going to go down. You can create a silence and set an expiry for that silence. And then you can put the particular service in there saying that I'm expecting this to go down at this time and I want the alert to be silenced. So in that case, you would create a silence. And alerts talks about the current alerts which you have. Now the alert states are right now in firing mode. So which means that these alerts are currently in action right now where you need to take action about this. Okay, so there's a new alert coming in, update available. So here, if you click on it, it basically tells you the name of the alert, the severity of the alert, and what is the information, how to get more information. So OCADM upgrade, and then basically it is telling you, it's a summary, is like your upstream update recommendation service recommendation to update your cluster. So basically tells you to update the cluster, and then you can actually look at this in part of the metrics. So when you click on that, you can actually see the metrics. So at this particular time, there is an update available, and you can see that this metric started appearing over here. Likewise, you can see all the alerts which is on your system. Now this alert talks about overcommitment for memory and CPU. When you click on that, you're going to get that, you can understand the message over here, the description, summary, and how it has attained it from when it has started to accumulate this particular issue. And then there is also a kind of like a documentation given by Kubernetes I'm sorry, OpenShift. So I'll just show you one of these alerts. Um, One of these alerts, right? There is documentation as well where you can actually read a GitHub page of this and see an output. So I'm just trying to find out one such option. I did see for storage, I guess. No. Yeah, run books. So for certain alerts, you're going to get run books. The run books are going to be part of your OpenShift GitHub page, where in which you can click and access the run book and try to mitigate that using some explanation given in the run book. So some alerts has this run book, but not all of them has it. That's what we saw just now. So do remember to check if there is any run book from OpenShift itself to, probably resolve the issue. That is alerts for you. Now the next one is going to be events. Events is an item which pops up on your home screen. Now events tells you the latest information about your Kubernetes cluster. There are events which is part of your particular, instance. For example, pod has its own events, and then all your services which you have deployed has its own events, and then the home events over here gives you a collided information about all the services you have and all their events. So when you click on resources, you can see these are that many number of resources the events have been collected from. So all the services is providing you the events. Okay. Now, if you want to isolate certain events on a particular service, like for example Prometheus, select that and you just try to match that event for that particular Prometheus. So most of the events are from operator. No, OAuth may have some events. No, the console should have some events over here. No. Okay. It's a it's taking a bit of time to populate that information. I'm just trying to enable the console related stuff. No, none of them has it. Okay, let's just remove all this and then let's get this one. So API service has it. API service. So what is happening is like when I search for, when I filter these events, it's waiting for new events to come through, but it is not showing the old events. So whatever the event has already gone through, it's not showing that. So that is what it is, just waiting for new events to come to. But when you cancel it, shows you all the existing events as well, and it is also streaming for more events over here. Now you can search for a normal event or a warning event where this shortens your time, like to understand what is exactly is going wrome. Now you can see that there is an outage detected on the API endpoint or the TCP of this one. There is an IO time mode over here. If you want to know about this, so this is happening to your node level, the worker node, and the namespace over here. So this basically event is coming from this worker node. So click on it to get to the worker node, and you can actually see the events over here. You can see that the recent event of connectivity outage over here. If you click on the events over here, it's gonna say that. All right. Now, when you check the logs will give you further information on what is actually wrong with this event, and you can try to understand that by looking at the log. Now, when you go to the bottom of the log, you will get the latest information. Okay, so here there seems to be not much of a exception over here. Looks like it's fine. There may be issue while setting up, I think, but that should be resolved once we have set it up. So that should be a problem. So I had to destroy my session and then recreate it. So yeah, so this is a new session. All right. So now we are going to look at some of the services which we have running. So let me clear the screen. So I'm in the master node. One of the very few troubleshooting things which we do for this, getting to know whether all the, everything is fine in the monitoring side of things by logging into the server is by checking the services. For example, first do chroot slash host. This will host all the binaries which is used for it. I've already done it. That's why it is in chroot slash host. Okay, so you'll be in the binary mode, so you'll be able to execute commands, and this is the mode you're supposed to be when you are working with the terminal. So in this terminal, we are going to type in a couple of commands. System control, and then I'm going to do status on kubectl. Oh, I'm sorry, kubelet. Okay, so this kubelet is a basic service which runs on all the nodes. So this is the master node. You can see that this is the worker node. So chroot slash host. So now here, systemctl status kubelet. So now this is the important service which needs to be actively running for your Kubernetes. Your background Kubernetes on the OpenShift should work. So the master server communicates through the kubelet on the worker node, and worker node communicates back to the kubelet on the master service. So kubelet is a service which is going to be running all the time. Okay, I can see that the latest events from that particular kubelet is over here. This is the latest event from the kubelet. Okay, now this is a service level event updates. So every time it does process certain things, it basically updates this event. The next important process is CRIO, CRIO. Now this is a process which tells you about the CRIO runtime environment for containers. So every time it creates a container or schedules a container, so this particular CRIO service will be updated, and both the servers will have the CRIO service. You can see that the CRIO service is available here as well. You can see this word creating container, starting container, and all those things, right? So again, this is the event specifically for this particular CRIO service, right? So this is what another important question they may ask in the exam, that which is the right command to get the information about cryo, like what is the right command to get information about your kubelet service, and is it possible to access terminal from your web console. So that could be also a false true or false question, and then you can go ahead and access that. All right. So now this is the a few things I want to quickly touch base with you on towards the question side of things in terms of examination. And this was actually pending from my end to complete the first section of this training. So now what I will do is like add some few questions which may pop up in the exam on the first few, for the first section of things, and then you take up the exam and let me know how you're doing on the exam. If you have any questions, you can put it on the comment section. Thank you again for watching this video. See you on the next one.